Hi YouTube, Roy Marco with Marco Custom Build Models coming to you today with the car that I put together for the 24-hour build 2022. It happened January 29th and 30th. And basically the cars went together well, but I had a paint job disaster. So if you see the car, it may look shiny. But the paint, if you see it, it has a lot of imperfections in it. Some sort of crazing and imperfections in the plastic actually showed through the paint after it got clear coated. So what I ended up using was a tester's paint. The label's kind of missing, but it's this diamond dust paint, and never again. I used it last year on the 24-hour build challenge in a different color, and it went on okay. Same process this year. The paint looked okay. It was a little bit, it wasn't quite what I wanted. I ended up using a 1K Clear Max spray paint. See back there, and that clear coat ended up causing the paint to react to the point where even imperfections in the plastic had shown through. So car looks kind of terrible. I did just sort of assemble it. I finished working on other things just to get it finished up, but it needs to be, the body needs to be sanded, stripped, or something and brought back. So consequently, I didn't finish the bumpers either in the correct chrome finish I wanted to finish. So they will, nothing's glued on, the body's not glued on. I can take it off still, and I'll show you all the other things about this build and things that I am proud of. The body not so much, but because of the 24 hours you don't have time to take it all apart in the sense of, strip it down. You got to wait for the paint to cure to a certain point before you can work with it. So here I am. The bumpers I didn't glue on just because I'm going to still work those, so those are now off. No big deal. The exhaust tips, what I planned on doing was using these aluminum tubes. This one's just a little loose, has to be glued in. But I think the exhaust tips worked out perfectly well on this model with the aluminum tubes coming through the body, where I drilled it into the chassis. So I think that worked out quite well. So anyway, let me pull those out though. Okay. So now, and also I did just stick these little turn signals on to show what I wanted to do and how they would look. Obviously they look good when the car is done. No big deal. I did put the hood on a hinge, a nice sort of metal pin hinge, and the 409 is now in the 63 Corvette, which, as you know, if you're a Corvette guy, that never happened. So this is supposed to be like a what-if concept car. I did put an alternator in because in 1963 you would have had an alternator instead of a generator, first year, for GM. I don't have an air cleaner fitted to this or an upper radiator hose. I just never got to that point. I did upgrade the master cylinder pot, and of course you can see the battery in there. I upgraded the battery out of another kit to a nicer battery. Where this car shines is on the underside. I think I did a good job with the detail here. This is sort of to represent overspray from the body when they would have painted the Corvette. And all the research I did, I could be wrong, and they never really painted the underside of the car much with primer. But they did use red oxide primer on 63 Corvettes before a color went on. So I did sort of like if the car was primered in red oxide primer, and then the overspray on the body, and then the frame around it, just to give this one-piece chassis a little more detail than if I just would have left it all plain black. I just think it gives it something. So that was there. The body, I made it so the body can come off, and interior is all in one piece, and the glass doesn't need to be glued in there. It will stay in there. I did paint the inside of the roof to match the interior. The hood is on a hinge and pin setup, very similar to how the Corvette would actually open. I did glue on some sort of place for the hood to sit as it came down on the body. Okay, hood opens quite nice. When the chassis is on there, it does have a stop so that this won't over open and wreck the paint on the hood, so that's good. But as you can see how bad that paint turned out. You can even see, it just boggles my mind, you can even see like this line, which is in the plastic before the car got painted. I don't know, that came right through, so the paint reacted with the plastic, causing this kind of imperfections to show right through into the clear. And all this came through after I cleared it. It's just unbelievable. I did have a car painted. I did drop the body with it wet paint. I had an imperfection end up right here on this corner and a fingerprint here from picking it up. I did try to sand it out a little bit, and there was a little bit of, and all that just showed up when the clear happened. This was a repair on the side of the body from imperfection from factory, and it just showed right through as well. It's just unbelievable. So this will have to be repainted, so that's okay. I didn't glue the taillights in, as you can see they're there, but they just pop through here. So just the lenses. I did have to glue in the outer rings. So that's the body. So unfortunately I didn't get any chrome work done or anything on this because the body, the paint, what happened, just it went bad. I didn't have enough time to remedy it. So anyway, but what did turn out is the interior. So I didn't have time to do a lot of work. I did take out these sinks in the floor the best I could. You can still sort of see imperfections in the floor. So unfortunately that didn't quite pan out to be perfectly smooth and unnotable, but it's there. I did have to use a photo etch steering wheel as the one. I just happened to have it, so it was okay, and the other photo etch pieces made it in, as like you can see the brake pedal, the clutch pedal, the gas pedal, this little emblem here, and of course on the door panels I decided to decorate them with the photo etch, just so that it gives this, you know, bland interior just a little bit of a nice detail. Then I proceeded to paint the dash with the 3-tone and all this gauges and things like that. That's all done by hand. The 409 engine was out of the 62 Bel Air kit, or yeah, the 62 Bel Air 409 kit, and same with the wheels. I wanted to go stock steel wheels with the 409. The master cylinder also came out of that kit, and so did the battery. So all those pieces are there. I did add some detail. This model kit has nothing on the top here, so what I did was I added some detail up in the top and added these plastic pieces to look like the top of the chassis, so that it's not just sort of voids and open area. Just kind of clean that up. The only thing I wish I may have done, and I'm not sure, I didn't try and put the small block or the factory kit motor in this model to figure out how close to the firewall the engine should be. There was a limitation on the size of the hole opening for the transmission to be able to tuck the bell housing under, which with this full transmission and engine seems to fit quite nicely, but I did have to add a little bit of a spacer here to bring up the difference. So they may have been able to go back that little bit, but it seems like on these Corvettes the center line of the front axle is just at the water pump on the small blocks. So I think that would be okay. It's acceptable. Not much else to talk about. I just kind of, there's the kit. Like again, that's what I did. I drilled the exhaust, the mufflers out here, so that these aluminum tips can then be glued in, and then they'll come through the body. So that's how that happens. Just thought that'd be nicer than the kit pieces. I didn't really bite off more than I could chew on this build, in the sense that, like, with the photo etch and with all the details and the spray paint and all the work I did on the chassis, did not really affect the time. I would have had this kit completed if the body itself would have turned out. So next year I'm just going to use a can of Tamiya paint. I'm not going to mess around. So I'll sand this body down, I'll do a wet sand, and I'll do a paint. I'm going to pick up a different paint, different silver. I don't like this, get a little bit too heavy of a metal flake, but I want to pick up something similar. I don't want to repaint the wheels. I think they look fine, and I don't want to have to, you know, this is already done, so silver is the color I'm going with. And what I'll do is do that in a clear. I'll get this body looking good, and then I'll get this model finished up. And when I do, I'll do another update on it. So that was my 24-hour build experience. I did a 3-hour live. If you want to check that out, you can see all the work I did. I was working on the hood hinges and these taillight openings, and just having some fun chatting with some guys that were watching and stuff like that, guys and gals. So basically, that's it. If you like these videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Have yourself a great day, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.